Hey, good morning, Bears. Well, I just tried to do a live stream, and I had Dom and Pinder and Andrew J, and I think Homemade even made it in there at one point, but that was not happening. Cell service here in Fort Worth is pretty abysmal. It might work if I was back at my folks' house and was using their Wi-Fi, but I wanted to take a walk and show you this neighborhood, and that just didn't work. So I said, all right, I'll just have to make other arrangements until I'm back in Illinois. Maybe I'll be able to get some kind of a later live stream and hang out with you guys. But just wanted to talk about a few things here that I tried to talk about in my live stream. It just wasn't working out. I'm out here with, where did she go? Oh, this way. That's right, I have this camera on. Gyda puppy. Gyda dog. What are you doing? Hi. Yeah, she needed a walk. She was a little stressed out. She'd had a rough evening. And just a rough time in general, I think, being down here. Dogs sometimes process things a little different than us humans, if not all the time. And she's a unique case. She gets more out of sorts about a lot more things that most dogs probably wouldn't. But just the difference of being down here in Fort Worth is probably messing with her a little bit. Let me flip this. All right, so I've got my little tripod I'm using as a selfie stick. Oh, maybe I don't want to knock the phone out of the tripod. That would be generally not good. So I thought I'd just take a few minutes and share a couple things that were on my mind today. So last night we go over to my uncle and aunt's house nearby here, and my uncle was the one who introduced me to Nintendo years ago when I was a kid. Played Super Mario and Duck Hunt for the first time with him, and it was kind of fun. He actually you get to like the dungeon levels, like every fourth level in the first Super Mario Brothers game, and there's fire and lava and stuff coming out, and balls of fire that are just spiraling at you all over the place, spinning at you. And the bad dragon character, King Koopa or whatever his name was back then, he shoots fire out of his mouth at you. And my uncle was going to say that, that whole level looks like hell, like it was evil. But I was a little kid, and he didn't want to cuss or say something bad. So he's like, oh, this is Bell. This is the Bell section of Super Mario Brothers. That's what they call it, Bell. Yeah. So I took that as gospel. I was like, well, Uncle Dan would always tell me the truth, right? So I'm going back home to Illinois later on. I'm talking to my friends at school, like, I've played Nintendo, I've played video games, I'm cool now. I was like, have you ever gotten to Bell? Yeah, that didn't help. They had no idea what I was talking about. They're like, are you okay? Yeah. So I grew up knowing that is Bell. I gotta love Uncle Dan. He always made things fun. But he wanted to have a chance for all my kids to get to play some of their favorite games. He picked up one of those Sega Genesis consoles, the one that has the games built in. It has like 80 games in it or something. And then they had an old arcade-style console that was set up there. It had Rampage and Galaga. I'm trying to think. A bunch of old school, I think Frogger's in there. A lot of the good old school games like that. And two players could get up there and play it just like you're at an arcade back in the day. The kids brought their Xbox and Minecraft, which was a must, as well as Lego Avengers. Those are their two favorites. So they got a chance, all four of them, to play whatever they wanted last night. And the adults played some Jackbox TV, or Jackbox.tv is the website, and you connect on, I think, PlayStation or some other console, and you play trivia games, but you can do it from your phone. So we all got to play. I let the older boys have a turn, trying it out and participating, and we all had a blast. It was a good time. But round about 8:45, I said, "Yeah, let's get ready to head out here." We'd been there a while, and of course my daughter was getting pretty tired. I think I could tell, and she began to have as we got her and my younger son into bed. The two of them started to have some disagreements, and she was not handling them well at all, and to the point where she began to lose control and just scream bloody murder, that things weren't going her way. And I said, well, that's not acceptable. That's just not going to happen because everybody else is up, and the dogs are barking because they don't understand. They don't know how else to respond to that because they're in the room with us. That's kind of how it's working. If we bring our dogs with us, we got to manage them. So yeah, it was loud for the whole house, and I said, well, that's going to stop right away. And she and I just separated ourselves from that for a little bit, and she stood in timeout until she was ready to calm down. And we had a couple of retries with that. It took us about 4 or 5 retries until she was officially ready to not just lose complete control, and was actually able to calm down and go back to sleep. So it took a couple hours, to get through all that, but it was so worth it because she was provided some boundaries. She was able to know, okay, this is some unacceptable behavior, and it keeps everybody else up. Gyda, how you doing this morning, sir? she's all bark. She probably wants to play more than anything. That sounds vicious. She's never really hurt a fly. But yeah, everything makes her nervous, even like a gentleman just walking on the trail past us. Anywho, no, that dog down there is not to play with. That's not what that's about. Hey, I want your attention over here, ma'am. Gyda puppy. Relax. I just did the Urkel snort. Good night. She's another dog about 50 yards off, and she's like, friend. Oh, goodness. So, at any rate, I provided my daughter boundaries. I let her know that there are methods of behavior that are acceptable, and there are some that are unacceptable. I also explained to her through that process that she has the ability to decide how she's going to feel. Howdy, good morning. She has the ability to decide how situations are going to affect her. She might be annoyed or frustrated by something that her brother is doing, and I will deal with him if he's intentionally doing that. I always do. But at the same time, if it's something that is completely normal behavior for him, and she decides she's going to take that in an unpleasant way, she actually gets to decide whether or not she's going to do that. She has that ability, but she has to exercise it. She has to practice it, because it's going to be harder to exercise that ability the more that she, or the less that she exercises it. It's going to be harder to make that choice to not allow somebody else's words or actions make her feel a particular way, unless she practices saying, okay, I don't have to feel this way. I get to feel a different way. I get to choose my thoughts. I get to choose what I'm going to focus on. So if she gets the idea now, if she starts beginning to have that understanding that she has that ability now, she has a much greater probability of carrying that into adulthood and being a much happier and healthier person. And that's what I want her to be. So spending a couple extra hours not sleeping and helping her calm herself before she can get to sleep, and knowing that some behaviors are unacceptable, that's so worth it to me. I was tired as a dickens after that, but that is a part of the job. That is a part of the deal of being a dad. You accept that from the get-go, and then you're less I think you're less frustrated by it. If you just say, well, my whole main purpose is to make sure that these kids grow up with the greatest probability of being able to be successful in life, enjoying the life as much as they possibly can, or being able to minimize their suffering in life as much as they can, because you're going to experience suffering, you're going to experience unpleasantness. But if they can learn how to do that for themselves and others, then I'd say I did my job well. And I hope that that's the outcome when they get to adulthood. So little moments like that reassure me that they're on the right track. They're getting there a little bit at a time. Yeah, so that was an interesting night. I will say, I think that the best part of this whole trip down here thus far has been going to water parks. There is a water park nearby that my parents have access to, and we're able to bring all of us into, all the kids and myself. And I think it was just my mom and my brother Ben and the kids and myself. So we went over there the day we got here, like, because we got here, about, I don't know, almost 11 in the morning on Friday, and just right that afternoon we went out, and I was dog tired. My wife was the smart one and stayed back and slept, but no, I decided I'm definitely gonna hang out and get these kids in a good experience. And we had blast. They had a water slide there. They had a lagoon pool with a little waterfall going on. They had a lap pool with some side areas. One of them was like 11 feet deep, and you could jump off and do cannonballs and fun stuff like that. And all my kids are fish. They swim great. Even my youngest, she's extremely adept to the water. She's still building a little strength in it, but she holds her own very well, and she lets you know right away, okay, I'm not sure I can do this, and she's able to do that without freaking out. She's like able to gauge, is this going to be difficult for me, or is this something I think I can handle, And most of the time she wants to try to do it on her own, and she does it pretty well, a little slower than the rest, but it's just improving all the time. And I understand that they swim pretty regularly over at their mom's house, so that's good. I'm glad to see that. I dig it. They just had so much fun. So much fun. And then the other part that I think I personally really enjoyed was this view. Ooh, see if I can knock this over. Yeah. The city of Fort Worth. It's hard to see way out there, but there's a little bit of a mist that's beginning to clear, but you can actually see right in the middle of these three trees here, these tallest three trees, is the downtown area. And this is a cool spot to be able to come out and see it. But yeah, always incredible the scope of the area when I come down here. Because Illinois has some really neat spots. Central Illinois has some really beautiful views. And I'd love to get a chance to show you some of them as we go on with this show. But pretty incredible. Well, I guess I'm gonna take Gyda back to the house. What do you think, puppy? Gyda, come here, babe. Come here, baby. Wanna go back to the house? You wanna go back and see Gerby and Chunk? And go hang out with Auntie Claire, your other puppy, your aunt puppy. Yeah. My folks have a golden doodle, and she's almost 10 now, or she is 10 now. But she's kind of like the mother of the group whenever these guys come down. It's pretty funny. Man. Yeah, that's a good way to start the day. Get a good fresh breath of air. And get on with life. Good, bad, indifferent. It's good for you. All right, bears, I love you. thanks for listening to me ramble. And sorry to Dom and Steve and Andrew J and Homemade Bear. Or is Andrew J and Homemade Bear the same person? That I forgot. No, I thought those were different. I'm still learning my bears. All right, we will talk to you later. Peace out, bears.